When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. The years have taken a toll on the residents of Westeros and Essos. EW is taking a look back at the Game of Thrones main characters' journeys and growth over the 8 seasons of the show. What a long, strange trip it's been! Arya, Maisie Williams, just got fiercer and more keen since her long stretches of thoroughly tutoring her younger sibling at bows and arrows. She concentrated on the specialty of water moving, penetrated hostile area as Tywin Lannister's Charles Dance, cupbearer, traveled through Westeros with the dog, Rory McCann, prepared to turn into an unremarkable, man in bravos. Jon, Unit Harrington, Jersecton Ducenduginus O Catter de Digismity. Elbet, Dovas Bessarilarini Keskin Listurdi, Sebdi V. K. Betty, Lider Oldu V. Hayana Jerry Dondu. Almaher Zaman Oldugu Jibi Duris, Assel, Timel Turbielli Incent Olarak Kaldi. Da Sanra Wygun Bur Si Kilda Gaze No Betsalarinin Literary Olarak Urini Aldi. The honor for generally different since episode 1 most likely goes to Grain, Isaac Hempstead Wright, who wasn't even in fact weak toward the end. He's gone from cute, inquisitive youngster to frightful, unusually quiet three-looked at Raven, infinitely wise and omnipresent gatekeeper of humankind's aggregate recollections. His long excursion north made him an expert of his extraordinary capacities, the unpleasant gaze, and betraying them with graceful incongruity. In the event that Sansa's, Sophie Turner, advancement was less extremist than her kin, watching her progress was no less fortifying. Sansa went through the ringer many times over, yet the innocent, testy distinct kid arose areas of strength for a strategically and decisively skilled woman, while some contended that Sansa had the right to control the Seven Ray. Talking about characters who went through the ringer, Theon, Alfie Allen, lost piece of himself on his excursion and in the end lost all of himself, dropping into the outlook of stink. Gradually, however, Theon reappeared, ultimately having his chance at recovery a few times over. He might have double-crossed House Distinct, yet he made up for his wrongdoings eventually. Dany went from Dothraki property to Khaleesi to mother of mythical serpents to breaker of chains to vanquisher. She gleaned some significant knowledge about administering during her time in Slave Master's Sound, predominantly that administering is super troublesome. Sadly, a ton of her troubling propensities never precisely disappeared. In the wake of taking Lord's arrival forcibly, Daenerys was excessively far gone to be recovered, driving Jon to make a deadly move against her. He might have started out as a sex specialist's best client, yet Tyrion rose to become one of only a handful of exceptional men really fit to sit on the iron lofty position. Through everything, Tyrion held his puncturing mind, his propensity for wine, and a talkative tongue, while he gave a valiant effort to save his famous kin. Dany's obliteration destroyed them, closed by various blameless people of rulers' arrival, which prompted Tyrion leaving as hand of the sovereign and encouraging Jon to step in and take care of her. Tyrion before long tracked down his spot as the Hand of Grain. Jaime Nikolai Coster-Waldau was one of the most loathed men in Westeros some time ago, and, indeed, perhaps still was eventually. However, the one who pushed Grain through the window of a high pinnacle, butchered Ned Distinct's men in the roads of Lord's arrival, and provoked Robb Obvious while a captive, gleaned tons of useful knowledge about himself, venturing to every part of the King's Road with Brienne, and losing his hand. Cersei was never known to let things go. She looked for quick and cold-blooded revenge when Arya's direwolf bit her child, when she just associated Tyrion with harming Joffrey, and when Margaery got all in all too agreeable as sovereign. Season 7 saw Cersei victorious, finally sitting on the lofty position with nobody to hinder her. Brienne went through her time on Earth not as the beauty queen, but rather the fighter lady cutting Express Ball to shreds. But she at long last removed her protective layer by connecting with Jaime. Following Jaime's passing, Brienne got herself an individual from the Little Committee as Master Commandant of the Kingsguard, completing her companion's entrance in the Book of Siblings. The primary subjugated individual Dany liberated in her triumph of slave master Sound, Missandei stayed close by through everything, uprisings, the dangers of overseeing, a journey across the ocean, and a fight against death itself. But, unfortunately, Missandei's reliability to the mythical serpent sovereign drove her to Lord's arrival, where she was returned to chains and met a lamentable end, however not without one final demonstration of faithfulness. Like Missandei, the leader of the Pristine remained wildly faithful to the mother of mythical serpents since meeting her, driving her military to triumph various times. Presented as an unemotional fighter, Dim Worm uncovered increasingly more mankind as the show advanced through his sentiment with Missandei. Having lost his adoration, the main thing at the forefront of his thoughts was overcoming Ruler's arrival and getting the high position for his sovereign. Varys, Conleth's Slope, aka the Insect, was shrewd in scheming even up to his demise. Captivated by the possibility of Jon Snow administering Westeros, he attempted to snag Tyrion into a plot against Daenerys. He much of the time guaranteed to just need what was best for the domain, yet his intentions stayed baffling, and his loyalties moved faster than it took HBO to delete that espresso mug. Ser Jorah, Ian Glenn, went through expulsion, exile, grayscale, and a horrifying treatment process, remaining unflinchingly faithful to Daenerys meanwhile. Eventually, he passed on as he lived, safeguarding the sovereign and Khaleesi he adored. As Jon Snow commented, Ser Jorah unquestionably could not have possibly needed it differently. The widely adored Westeros Smithy dropped off the guide for some time, after Ser Davos put him in a dinghy to get away from Melisandre's grasp/leeches. Gendry, Joe Dempsey, reappeared in Season 7 as a sledge-using champion and came out the opposite side of the drawn-out night to find a lordship looking for him. Given you're the charlatan child of a ruler, that is...